We all know kamikaze pilots were sent on one-way missions to destroy enemy ships in World War II. But what happened when these men missed their targets, or worse, backed out entirely? Were they punished for failing their deadly mission, or did they face an entirely different fate? Stick around as we dive into the untold story of kamikaze pilots who didn't succeed or who just couldn't pull the trigger. Many people are familiar with kamikaze pilots, young men tasked with crashing their planes into enemy warships. Ideally, these pilots could accurately target critical parts of ships, inflicting more damage than traditional bombing runs. Additionally, the self-sacrifice of kamikaze pilots was believed to demoralize the enemy. While the effects of kamikaze attacks are widely debated, less is discussed about what happened to pilots who failed in their missions. What fate awaited those who missed their targets or backed out? By 1944, Japan's situation was dire. Their only hope of preventing defeat by America lay in destroying or crippling enemy capital ships, particularly aircraft carriers. Conventional attacks were too costly for Japan, leading them to adopt a strategy involving young pilots flying planes loaded with explosives directly into critical parts of enemy vessels. The men selected for these missions were not random. They were among Japan's most skilled pilots. Their training was rigorous, but they received better rations and were culturally revered as kamikaze pilots. During their off time, they were expected to reflect on death to prepare for their missions. However, for some, this preparation and love for Japan were not enough to drive them to their demise. So, what happened to kamikaze pilots who failed? Many were shot down before they could complete their missions. Some missed their targets entirely or struck the wrong part of a ship, resulting in crashes into the ocean. Those who survived would be captured and taken prisoner. Contrary to popular belief, kamikaze pilots were not simply given half a tank of fuel to ensure they couldn't return. There were legitimate reasons for a pilot to turn back, such as technical malfunctions or bad weather. Losing a well-trained kamikaze pilot to mechanical failure would have been a waste, especially since Japan's resources, including trained pilots, were limited. Pilots who turned around for these reasons faced no repercussions. They were told, "Better luck next time," and there would indeed be a next time. However, those who returned for less justifiable reasons, such as enemy resistance or failure to locate their target, faced criticism. To mitigate this, kamikaze attacks were often conducted in groups, and pilots were sometimes given alcohol to help them cope with the reality of their missions. If only one pilot returned, it raised suspicions. Nevertheless, kamikaze pilots were valuable assets, and Japan aimed to utilize every one of them. Thus, there were generally no punishments for returning pilots, as long as they had valid reasons. There was, of course, a limit to how many times a pilot could return. For instance, one pilot was executed for cowardice after returning 9 times. For most, however, returning from a suicide mission was somewhat expected and did not typically result in imprisonment or execution. Like all resources during World War II, Japan needed to conserve and maximize the use of its kamikaze pilots to compete with the industrial might of the United States. Given that a single kamikaze pilot could disable an aircraft carrier for months, they were not to be wasted. This is why returning kamikaze pilots that you know what happened to kamikaze pilots who didn't follow through. Let me know. Did you think failure was met with punishment? Or was there more leniency than we realized? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting. For more shocking history facts and untold stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.